All narcissists need a doormat, at least one, but if they can get away with having more, even better. And the doormat is that primary supply figure, that person who allows the narcissist to get away with way too much. Way too much psychological abuse, way too much projection, way too much control. Ultimately, the narcissist doormat is the person who plays the most important role of regulating the narcissist's emotions. So, when the narcissist is feeling bad and down, they can project those feelings on to the doormat by making the doormat feel bad and down. Or when they need their ego stroked, the doormat will do or say something to make the narcissist feel good about themselves. Maybe the narcissist cooks something and the doormat will compliment them 10, 20, 30 times about how good the food was or whatever it may be. And the personality profile of this primary supply of the doormat is usually somebody with really high codependent traits, somebody with very low self-esteem, very low confidence, who's willing to tolerate way too much unfair treatment, abuse, etc. And ultimately, going back to this whole thing that narcissists need, which is emotional regulation, they need somebody to help them regulate their emotions. So they need somebody who will respond and behave in such a way as to give the narcissist exactly what they need. Whether it's an ego stroke, whether it's being that object of projection. And as long as that person, that doormat, is behaving as the narcissist expects, as they would have behaved over the past many weeks, months, years, decades even, then the narcissist is okay in terms of feeling emotionally regulated. But when somebody, such as their primary supply, their doormat, or could even be somebody, could even be someone else, some other source of supply who the narcissist has dealings with, when the narcissist expects a certain type of behavior, a certain type of reaction from you, because maybe the track record suggests that if they do A, you respond with B, and if they do C, you respond with D. You're very predictable. When you stop responding to the narcissist the way they need, they immediately feel dysregulated. So if they need you to stroke their ego, if they say something like, maybe they painted the wall outside and they said, "Oh, didn't I do a good job painting the wall?" And if you don't praise them at least 10 times telling them how good of a job they did, they start feeling very uneasy, very dysregulated, because you're not stroking their ego, you're not giving them that sense of accomplishment, of grandiosity, of having to achieve something of supreme importance. That's what they're looking for, is for you to give them that feeling through your excessive compliments and praise. Or alternatively, if it used to be the case that they had a bad day and maybe they had a disagreement with their boss at work or work colleagues, so when they come home, they might immediately start looking for things to complain about, whether it's how dirty the carpet is, or why you haven't cooked dinner yet, or you didn't put enough salt in the bolognese, whatever. They'll find reasons to complain and project. And if you don't respond the way they look, which they're looking for, which is that they expect you to feel bad about yourself, to be apologetic, to feel down, like a puppy with its tail between its legs. If you don't give that kind of reaction, then they feel dysregulated because they're not successfully projecting. If you show some level of indifference, then they're not getting away with the projection and they're having to live with their own toxicity. So the moment you being the doormat supply, or just somebody else who has dealings with them, the moment you stop behaving in the way they badly need you to, then they feel imbalanced, they feel unhinged, and they feel like they need to do something about it, because all of a sudden they've lost their stability. And that's a very uneasy place for the narcissist to be, because they need to feel stable, and they only keep people around in their lives who help them achieve that stability. Otherwise you don't really serve much of a purpose. I mean, okay, fine, maybe there are some people who might have very special purposes, like whether it's prostitutes or, you know, There are people who serve certain functions that might not play a big part in their life, but most people who play a big part in their lives, they expect certain behaviors from those people, like a compliance, if you would. So when you're not reacting and behaving the way they need, they feel this sense of instability. They lose their sense of grounding, this whole dysregulation where their emotions kind of get out of control. So one reaction might be for them to up the game a little bit more. They might try a little bit harder to get the reactions they need. Instead of complaining about the lack of salt in the bolognese or the dirty carpet, they might say that you're looking fat, or that you have too many wrinkles on your face, or that you smell funny, because they'll take it up a notch. They'll say something that's even more offensive to see if they can put you down. Or if they need your praise, they might just make something up, saying that they might be getting a promotion or something out of the blue, some complete nonsense, or that they've achieved something great just so you praise them. So that's one thing they might do when they need you, to see if they can somehow elicit the reaction that they need from you when you're not being compliant. But if they still can't get you to comply, if they still can't get you to shape up, then they'll resort to other things to look out for stability, to find that stability in themselves, which often means scouting out other people, other targets, other supply sources who can play that role that you've been playing before, but which now you're failing to play. So, narcissists, if they don't have somebody in their lives, at least one key person, and other secondary people as well, but they need at least that one, maybe two people who are really compliant, who really comply with their needs. They say jump, you say how high. It's just immediate, instantaneous. You're their extension. And when they lose that, when they feel that their current person isn't really playing that role the way they used to, then they keep testing the person to see if they can get them back in line. But if not, they're forced to look for supply elsewhere, because that whole emotion dysregulation that they experience, where their emotions kind of go, get out of whack, and they can't resettle themselves. It's just not something that it's not a place they can be in very long. So it's almost like they go into survival mode and trying to find somebody else. They might still keep you around if you serve a function, but they'll probably try to punish you at the same time. And if their punishments aren't hitting the spot, maybe it doesn't impact you, or they're not able to deliver the blows that they want, they might just realize you have no further use in their life. But if you've been together maybe your spouse is living together for a long time, it could be that there's certain conveniences for having you around, whether it's cleaning the house, raising the kids. Maybe you have a good paying job, so you earn money. So it could be they still keep you around, but they do always need somebody who complies with their most basic needs, which is to help them regulate their emotions. And if they're not getting that from you, they will get it from somebody else.